Hello again, everyone. This is Gilmer, and this is my Let's Play Birth of America 2 Wars in America. I want to bring your attention to this little, well, it's already off the screen, but let me see if I can't, if there's anything in the credits. Oh, here we go. So I want to bring your attention to this right here where it says WIA 1.10E QF2. I started my game yesterday under the auspices of patch 1.04C. As you can see, there have been many updates since that. That update was from 2012, the one I was playing under, I think, or this one is. But whatever it is, I was playing on a very much older version of Wars in America, or Birth of America 2. So I'm going to restart everything. I'm not going to go through everything again. I'm just going to go real quickly into the scenario. I'm just going to take a look. But I wanted to inform you that we are going to restart because of this. Because somebody pointed out in the comments that my version didn't look like theirs and asked if I was what version I was running under, and I was definitely running under a earlier version. So I wanted to make sure that we have no hiccups, no anything. I'm not going to try to resume my old playthrough, the old game. I am going to start a new one. And there's so many scenarios in this game that we can play a whole bunch of these and it not really be that big of a deal. I'm not married to, playing some of the huger scenarios. I am eventually probably going to play the bigger scenarios, the long campaign, such as we hold these truths, which is basically the full, or the whites of their eyes, which is 104 turns. If I could get it, it's not going to let me do it, but as you can see it, the whites of their eyes, I think, is the longest scenario in this game, and it is the American Revolutionary War from 1775 to 1783. It's a month turn, so 104 turns is what? 10 years? No, that would be 120 turns, so maybe a little slightly less than 9 years is what that is. 1776 to 1775 to 1783. Yeah, so something along the lines of 9 years in a certain amount of months. But anyway, let's go right back into it, and we're going to go by, let's just real quick just kind of go through the options and make sure everything's the same. Music is not on because of copyright. Freaking song, some of these songs are 200 years old, but they're still under copyright, I guess, because somebody bought the rights or something. I'm not sure, but I'm sure somebody would make a claim. So everything seems to be the same. Nothing has been changed. And so there we are. So let's go ahead, new game. And nothing really had happened in the other one anyway, so we had just processed 2 turns. So again, as you can see, that's a little different too. Before it was just a real small little flag or something, but now it's a little bit different. And that's probably what some people saw was the difference in the graphics here and certain other things. So let's see, F5, victory points, accumulated victory points 0 to 0, national morale, sudden death. See, there are some differences because now it is showing morale under this screen, whereas before it was not. And Spanish morale was 100. Seems like every scenario I do that my morale is less than the opponent's morale, but that's how it is. I guess the Spanish morale is much higher than the Great Britain's. I guess Great Britain's morale is a little low because they were still fighting the, basically the Americans, the the newly formed United States or the American colonies or whatever you want to call them. And at 1779, I don't think things were going very well for the British at this point in the American Revolutionary War. I think Valley Forge was the winner of 77, 78, and then I believe that year in 1778 we had several fairly significant victories, and probably in 1779 as well. I should know my history a little bit better, shouldn't I? I don't know the exact dates of some of the battles, and funny thing about it is when you used to take history courses, they would make you remember dates, and a lot of people were bad at remembering dates. I wasn't that bad, but I don't remember ever being taught about the American Revolutionary War where we were given a lot of dates. I do remember in 6th grade going to see the movie. I'm going to date myself here, but was it the 6th grade? But I remember going to see the movie 1776 in the theater as a field trip. And it was a musical, if you can imagine that. But it was, and it came out in 1976, I think. So, anyway, everybody says I ramble. I guess I do. But they seem to not mind it too much, except the very rare commenter will say, I'm sick of hearing you ramble. Just play the game. So let's just take a look at everything. None of these screens are really open or being used much yet, but here is a list of the controlled objectives. So let's go quickly into a turn. That's interesting. On the aborted scenario that we had started under the old patch, this guy had moved out and actually went to Manchad. Is that Manchad or Manchow? Well, it doesn't really say, does it? It says it somewhere. Well, there's where it says it, but I mean, I wanted to see it somewhere else as well. And let's see if we have anything that we can do at this point. Let's see. That's still locked. That's locked. That is locked. It's nice to know that we know where another supply unit is. St. Augustine has a garrison. And then all of this is considered British territory, but there's really nothing below St. Augustine. Nowadays, good God, Florida's so almost overpopulated, I would think. I mean, some people probably don't think so, but there are so many people in Florida these days, and it goes all the way to the tip. Tampa over here. Okay, I know, I'm rambling again. So I don't think anything is ready for me to start. Let's go with another turn. I might be doing something wrong, I don't know. West Florida is now active in region Maurepas. Oh, and that's... Oh. Well, let's get them the hell out of there then. Can I get them out of there? Why can't I get them out of there? This region cannot be entered. Cannot reach the destination from here. So I guess that ship is just, it's just not going to get to leave. I mean, that's the name of the ship, the West Florida. That's I don't want to lose that. All right. Next turn. There's Baton Rouge. That is an actual objective. Are they on ships? Okay, let's see. Dover is now active in region Pensacola. That is that ship. Pontchartrain Flotilla is now active in Maurepas. Lake Pontchartrain. I've crossed that river many times in my lifetime. And you ask, why were you crossing that river? Actually going to New Orleans to have a little fun. Have a couple of beers or more. New Orleans is a fun town. In recent years, it's gotten a lot of bad publicity, I guess, because there have been a lot of shootings on what is called the French Quarter, which is the party area. I've never been down there when that happened, and we usually go to more local spots, which I won't tell you because I don't want those places to become touristy. But I don't know. If you ask me, I'll tell you. It's fairly common knowledge. You could probably Google less touristy places in New Orleans to visit, and they'll probably pop up on your screen the places I go to. Anyway, Mississippi Bateau is now available, or now there's not really much I can do. I guess I could. See, I don't know. I don't know about that. Let me save the turn. You never can tell with these games, these Ageod games. They're a little finicky, especially when you're trying to video them. Sometimes they'll CTD, crash to desktop. Oh. Battle of Natchez, Mississippi. Let me know in the comments if the sound is too loud. It doesn't sound that loud to me. This is one of the few I think that sounds pretty good, actually. Sounds kind of low. Not too loud. Upon seizure of Dartmouth, a British schooner is captured. I couldn't get away with them. We have failed to engage the enemy artillery. Hey, where's the... Oh, well. So we lost that. The fleet has arrived in Lake Pontchartrain. Natchez militia is now active in region Abissa. Wonder when I'm going to get some troops that I can move around. Okay, so here we go. Available replacements. GBR Raider. That's for ships. GBR light warship. That's 3. And then ING Raider. Not really sure what ING is, unless they're talking about Native American, but I don't think the Native Americans were much on Great Britain's side, although they were in some cases, I guess. What does this say? Spain captured Dartmouth in region Maurepas. Spain captured the harbor in region Maurepas. And my army is still sitting. $3,411 men and 214 horses, power of 247. They're still sitting in Pensacola, locked. So let's go with another turn. Now, usually you'll see in the messages if something becomes active. So that's why I'm assuming we don't have anything active except the various militias as they're attacked. Okay. Replacements for the British arrived from England. British received irregular replacements. British received militia replacements. And that's it. My huge army is still locked. Under lock and key. So as you can see, this is what we own. This is what they own. They have attacked up through here and captured these regions just above New Orleans and above Lake Pontchartrain. So that's something we're going to keep a close eye on. What does supply look like? Wow. Not a lot of supply. But see, the green areas, you're getting supplies. So I think I can march my army on green areas and it would still be supplied. So that this area right here, if I crossed it, if I could get from there to there, I would probably be in good shape. But until my troops actually become active, I don't know if I can do anything. But we will check and see. I have 6 engagement points accrued so far. My morale's still at 90 because I haven't done anything or lost anything significant. As you can see, this is the weather. It's snow. Let's see. Oh, yeah. You can see it up here. So in Fort Toulouse, it's forest. And it's cold. Probably means it's snowing. Harsh weather. Forest cold. On the top line it says Amukfa. Emukfa? The hell is that? I've never heard that name. But it says forest cold. High bonus 1. Harsh weather. Chakatuma? Alabamas? I wonder if that's where they took the name Alabama from. Because this is actually Alabama. If you don't know it yet, I live in Alabama. I'm familiar with a lot of this area. I was living in Atlanta, but I moved home. Not really sure where Atlanta is. That might be where Atlanta is eventually. What does this say? 96. There's Augusta, Georgia. Atlanta is on a river. So that might be it. Might be in that area. It's hard to tell because some of these names are very unfamiliar to me. But I am familiar with Fort Toulouse. Fort Toulouse is actually still a fort. It's a a park, a national park now. And I actually visited it one time when my grandparents were in town years and years and years ago, probably about 30 years now. We went out to Fort Toulouse and walked around the old fort grounds. It's pretty interesting because Fort Toulouse originally was an Indian fort. It was in medieval times, the Indians in this area built a fort, and then when the British got here, they kind of took over the fort when they took over the area, I think, or built a fort on top of it, or at least in the area close enough to call it Fort Toulouse. Anyway, I'm rambling, I know it. There's the Conecuh. Oh, that's Conecuh River. Okay, there's the Alabama River. Talladega. I'm familiar with Talladega. Damn, look at all these weird. I mean, they're. I'm sure they're not weird to Indian Native Americans, of which I do have some descent, but not a lot. But I'm not familiar with all. I've heard Bigby. I've heard of that. But a lot of these other names I am not from. Perdide, which I think Perdido Bay is probably named after. In Pensacola. Mobile, of course. Biloxi. Pascagoula. Hey, anyway, I know. I live in this area, so I'm kind of fascinated by it. The Black River. Anyway. 6th Royal Americans received some infantry. So let's take a look at that. Or 60th. That's probably what it says. 60th, that's them. If we can take a look at it. And I found it always fascinating with Ageod games that they always do these art representations of the actual units. And a lot of times it's an artist who draws them out and are rendered into the game. Infantry line, infantry, and then you can read all up and down here about their abilities, what they can do. If you have any questions about these, you can ask me and I'll try to give you a good answer. Heavy infantry, speed coefficient 100. I don't know how fast that means they can go, but probably means 100%, and then everything else is based off of that. So if you see something that's like, if we go to here, their speed coefficient is 110%. They're medium cavalry, so they're going faster, 10% faster than heavy infantry. 180 men, 180 horses. All right, so I'm sure you're happy to see that. And then we have these attributes on some of the units. And a skirmisher is a type of troop you can hide in wilderness areas, and they can perform ambushes, which gives them a little bit of advantage against other small forces. And this one's Native American, Indian. This unit is Indian, and it is a pillager. And a pillager, all that means is that it'll pillage the region. As you can tell, these two regions have been pillaged. This region has been pillaged, thus reducing greatly the chances to live off the land if need be. Adjacent towns and cities also receive a slight supply production penalty. And it takes several turns for that to not be in pillaged mode anymore. So let's go ahead and do another turn. Okay, so now they're moving out their main forces. And they're coming up here to Manchac. It looks like Manchac now. Is that it? I believe that's it. Well, I have to apologize for this scenario. There's not much going on. Also, another thing to kind of notice about this is it has a 35% command penalty. And the reason that is because in the American Revolutionary War and in that time, they didn't, over in this theater of conflict, they really didn't use armies and corps and things like that. As you can see, it's called West Florida Force. It's a 2-star general. He can't even create an army. So basically, it was they just put everybody into the army, and each general would have a certain amount of troops that they commanded, and that was about it. There weren't corps, and there weren't divisions, and there weren't anything like that. So this general right here, Commander in Chief, he's basically just in charge of a bunch of troops. And that's why he has a 35% penalty. Hopefully, we might get more commanders that we can actually put into this army that can help us with this command penalty. So what time is it? This is about, what am I? I'm running about 24 minutes on this video. So let's just keep going. One more turn. Oh, wait a minute. Let's just check. So as you can see, we're getting a few more GBR militia. That's Great Britain militia units replacements. If I go to F3, there's no military options. There's no diplomatic options. And as you can see, accumulated victory point. How are they getting 56 points? Well, I guess it's because they own these, and so they do get points for Havana, St. Dominique, St. Louis, and New Orleans. But we're gaining more points per them per turn. So, this is it, 11 and 8. So 7 times 8 is 56, and 7 times 11 is 77. We've already played 7 turns. It's turn 8. 21 turns remain. Let's do another turn. We've done 7 turns now, 8 turns in the amount of time. Stalemate, but we lost 110 men out of 120. So I don't expect them to last much longer. No, I don't. Those last 10 men are gonna get massacred. I've got a feeling. Hey, but we got some messages that we can read. And this thing is completely unsupplied in Lake Pontchartrain. But if I had left him in that fort, he would have just been captured. So, Fort Butte garrison engaged. A battle occurred against Spain, and it was a draw. More replacements. So now we have 2 militia type replacements and 1 line infantry replacement. Fort Butte garrison is now active, and Pontchartrain flotilla is completely unsupplied in Pontchartrain, Lake Pontchartrain. Well, we played 8 turns, and my army is not active yet. But they have to attack Pensacola at some point, so then it will activate. But I'm hoping it's not on like turn 16. So anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. This is basically episode 1 of my Let's Play Birth of America 2, Wars in America. The Florida campaign between Spain and Great Britain. So let me save that, and I will see you next time.